Okay, so let's go into hyenas. So for our version, he runs and he like walks up past the dig site, and then some hyenas kind of like run up on him, and it looks like MS Paint.
No, really?
So
These
bad.
shitty hyenas like pop up on the screen. They look like they're like stick puppets like popping up.
The same thing in this. The CG looked like it looked very flat.
Yeah.
No detail. Very jolty, but it was CG.
Weird lighting. Yep,
It was
same.
very, very weird.
We tried real hyenas, but they basically do nothing. They are untrainable wild animals. So we've had to resort to doing them with CGI. To a certain extent, I regret that decision because technology as of today is not yet on a level where we could make these animals convincing.
So for us, a pack of hyenas have been killed by the cattle.
Oh my God. It's
What?
so fucking stupid. Clint, it's so fucking stupid. So you thought those CG hyenas were bad? Guess what? They're CG cows in our version.
Eating dead hyenas.
It's like that Simpsons joke
It's
when they're making the
garbage.
radioactive man.
Sir, why don't you just use real cows?
Cows don't look like cows on film. You gotta use horses.
What do you do if you want something that looks like a horse?
Usually we just tape a bunch of cats together. Making stuff is hard, especially in the entertainment world when there are millions of dollars on the line. And we are going to talk about these disastrous, never-ending, and sometimes dangerous productions. This is The Shit Show.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ian. I am joined by Clint
Hello.
and Ray.
Hello.
And this is part 2 of Exorcist movies. And because we have a lot to say, apparently.
God damn it. There's a part 2. This is like, the podcast is now getting into the territory of those movies where there is too many of them.
That's the thing is like people who listen to our show who also are fans of The Exorcist are like, guys, why?
They're just like,
Nobody cares.
yeah, no one gives a shit about the prequels, okay?
Okay. So let's talk about the prequels to The Exorcist.
This is so fascinating. I didn't read into it like you asked me not to, but like I couldn't help but like just like see little bits and pieces of it here and there. And I am so interested in this whole story. I cannot wait to get into this. I am so excited about this.
The movie was made already once by the director Paul Schrader. The production company had some concerns about the film. They asked me if I could come and take a look and just give some thoughts. It turned out that Paul Schrader, according to them, did not want to continue to work on the film. And I was very reluctant in the beginning. I said, I don't want to step into another director's work. However, they talked me into it and said, just a couple of scenes, just a little fix here and there, and then we are fine.
Okay, so originally, to recap, so Morgan Creek Productions is the company that bought the rights. So they commission a screenplay with a handful of writers taking a crack at it until they find one they like. And it's called Exorcist, the Beginning. Now, to recap, so the most important thing here is in the original Exorcist, Father Merrin, they mention him very briefly that he was in Africa a decade before the original Exorcist. I think they say 15 years. He did an exorcism that took him months, and it nearly killed him. So that's what they took. Whatever the screenplay was, that's the idea that they came with.
Right.
It was like just off of that couple of lines.
I think that's enough for a story.
Yeah.
For a jumping off point.
Again, like we were talking about, Father Merrin is kind of like such a non-character in that movie.
Yeah.
Because he's just at the beginning and at the end. He's not even in it that much. So it makes sense to kind of flesh him out.
Yeah, it's like they're starting out solid.
Yeah, it gives you
Solid
you a
start.
main character, it gives you a setting, gives
Yeah.
you
Makes sense. So they hire John Frankenheimer. John Frankenheimer has been in the business for a long time. Probably his biggest movie was The Manchurian Candidate from the 60s.
Okay.
And so that's how long he's been around. And then his last leg of films was Ronin with Robert De Niro, which is a pretty interesting. It's just basically a car chase movie. And one of his last movies was Reindeer Games, which is awful. But he signs on to direct The Exorcist, or Exorcist: The Beginning, in 2002. He starts the casting process, starts feeling ill, leaves the project.
The curse.
Goes
The curse is back.
goes in for spinal surgery
Oh.
a month later and dies.
Oh, goodness.
Not Frankenstein. No.
Don't worry, he'll come back.
He'll come back. It's fine.
He's alive. So
A man is
rest
dead.
in peace.
A man died. How dare you?
We're clearly not recording this late.
Yeah.
So Morgan Creek then hires Paul Schrader. Now, Schrader is the writer of a lot of Martin Scorsese films, like Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, and he also directed Autofocus with Greg Kinnear, a movie about Hogan's Heroes guy. It's a serious indie film. And then his last big movie was, his studio film was Cat People, which is
Hat?
Cat People.
People?
Yeah.
It's the sequel to Roar.
And the prequel to Cats.
The evolution.
The evolution.
Everybody just go home or wherever you are, look up Cat People. That's fucking wacko movie.
Stop
Anyway,
what you're doing right now. Google Cat People.
so that was his, he did Cat People.
With
and that was his studio.
safe search on. Make sure you're
Yes.
No, safe search off. Not kidding. So
Clint's like, hold on. Everybody hold on. Pause this podcast.
So that was his last studio film. It was like 20 years. And so he's been doing all these indie pictures, really kind of dark, weird, kind of offbeat, strange stuff. Okay. So
Cat People is a 1982 American erotic horror film
Ooh.
that stars Annette O'Toole, Ed Begley Jr.,
Was this...
and other people whose names I don't know.
Was that a shit show? Was making that a shit show? Because I want
don't
to talk
know.
about it. I want to
don't
watch
know.
it. I want to talk about it.
off the record,
Meow.
wait. I had a friend in high school that was like obsessed with watching like this movie because there's a lot of sex scenes in it. And it was like his awakening movie.
Wow.
That was when he discovered his sexual attraction to cats.
Cat
That's when he
fetish.
learned
Cat
how
people.
to lick his own dick.
No way. No. I was going to say, that's what?
Both of our faces were like, oh my God, we got to go watch this movie right now.
Do not cut that. Do not cut that. That was amazing.
Okay, so Paul Schrader makes the movie. No problems whatsoever in general. Cost $35 million.
Oh, wow. He just like makes done. Boom. Movie's made.
Yeah, 13 weeks of filming. He kind of just makes it. I mean, he's directed a lot of movies before, so
He knows his shit.
He knows his shit.
That's 70 lunches. I'm going to keep this joke going, man.
So Schrader shows the film to Morgan Creek.
These motherfuckers. All right. What are they going to say about this?
Okay. So he shows it to him and says that like the film's a little long. So Schrader cuts 10 minutes. Then Morgan Creek fires Schrader's editor and hires another to recut it to be scarier. Of what has been filmed, how do you just make something scarier via the editing? Jenny Ray, the editor.
I mean, slower and more tension, probably. If it's something that's not like jump scare heavy or like gore heavy.
Yeah. So
But
the
then,
guy's unsuccessful.
but they already cut 10 minutes. You want to make these shots longer.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, what do you want from
Right.
us, Morgan Creek?
There you go.
We're only humans,
Yes,
okay?
exactly.
Editors are only human.
Yeah. The guy was only able to work with what he was given, right? And so he shows a version and Morgan Creek's like, ooh.
It's not scarier.
Yeah. So
Meh.
shortly after that, they fire Schrader, and then Morgan Creek shows the film to a handful of directors to get some feedback. And one of them is director Rennie Harlan, who did Die Hard 2, Cliffhanger, Deep Blue Sea, big dumb action movie.
Big dumb action movies,
like
yep.
Deep Blue Sea is just fucking stupid movie. Okay, so Harlan suggests just reshooting the entire thing. And Morgan Creek's like, you're hired.
You got it. This is the first time anyone said something logical.
So Harlan starts doing some reshoots, but he's doing it in like bits and pieces, like just little things, little here. But Gabriel Mann, who played Father Francis in the movie,
Milk Toast?
yeah,
Okay.
he's
That's what I kept calling him.
I have IMDb up right now, and I was going to scroll down to look who you was that you were talking about. I didn't even get that far when you said Father Milk Toast. I'm like, oh yeah, I know exactly.
Yeah,
who
the
you're
Milk
talking
Toast
about.
guy, yep.
Yep.
okay.
Wonder
Let's come
Bread.
back to that. Okay.
Father
So
Pointless.
Gabriel Mann is busy and can't return. So at this point, they decide, well, they have to recast him, right? And why not just restructure the whole movie as much as they can? And they bring in a new writer, but they have to utilize the costumes and the sets that are already made. So they're kind of like, you can do reshoots, you can redo this movie, but you have to do it in these constraints, right? Because we've spent so much fucking money
Right.
on it. Though Stellan Skarsgård was not happy about this,
for
about
sure.
doing it. But he was friends with Rennie Harlan because they did Deep Blue Sea together. And so he was like, fine. So he put up with it.
Big sigh. Fine.
No, I described Stellan Skarsgård to January the other day. It's like, he seems so annoyed to be in every movie he is in.
Yeah.
He does.
He's a good actor,
Yeah.
but he seems just like he can't be
He's
bothered.
mad he's there. I'm like, Stellan, I'm with you. I also hate being on set.
So Harlan's version cost an additional $45 million,
Oh my goodness.
bringing the total cost to this whole nonsense to $80 million. The Exorcist: The Beginning releases on August 20th, 2004 on nearly 3,000 screens. So it's just all over the country, right? Has 10% on Rotten Tomatoes
That's fair.
and makes 78 million worldwide.
And it cost how much? 80?
80.
Oh, so close. So close,
so
you guys.
So Paul Schrader saw the movie opening night, and he brought with him William Peter Blatty.
Man, Hollywood, man. Like,
Just everyone fucking, what, you just bumped into him outside? Hey, you want to go see this shitty movie with me? Yeah, let's go talk about how shitty it is after we see it.
hey, Blatty, remember that phenomenon that you did? Let's go see what this was.
Let's go watch him get gutted.
Yeah.
So
Because Schrader was fired, like straight
Yeah.
up, like your film sucks, you're out. We're giving it
Rennie.
to Harlan.
yes. All right. January B.R. Paul Schrader.
As the movie went on, Blatty was getting more and more upset. It was all coming back to him, what he'd been through. After 15 years, he was still angry about it. Whereas I was sitting next to him feeling better and better. I was looking at this saying, this is really bad. If it stays this bad, I bet there's a chance I can get mine resurrected.
So Blatty's there with Schrader. They're watching this movie, and Blatty just keeps thinking to himself, like, I know exactly what Schrader's feeling like because
Yeah,
Morgan
exactly.
Creek fucked with my movie, and I didn't get what I wanted to do. And Schrader's over there just laughing, like, this fucking sucks, and I'm so happy about it.
Yeah.
So like they're in the same boat, feeling
Yeah.
different
They
things.
went
but,
through
like,
the same thing with
different
Morgan Creek.
justifiable
Yeah.
feelings.
So, lo and behold, at some point, Morgan Creek realizes they could still release the original version and make up for the box office disappointment, right?
Yeah, because they had a finished movie.
essentially,
Like a fucking
essentially.
done movie.
Yeah. Post-production, not so much. But he had the rest of it done.
Let's be honest. Watching The Exorcist, the beginning, post production was still not done in that
Yeah,
movie.
that's accurate.
That hyena scene
Oh, good lord.
was
Hold on.
rough.
Hold on.
It was very rough.
Okay. So Schrader was asked to come back, but is only given $35,000
my God.
to finish the
How many
movie.
lunches is that?
That's not even one.
That's like an appetizer.
That's
That's
a
a salad.
that's a soda.
dinner.
That's appetizers and like one glass of wine, maybe.
That's water and a dinner
Yeah.
salad.
I love this fucking joke.
So he gets a composer to like provide like 15 minutes of score for free, and then he finds this band. I don't know how, this metal band
Lucifer. It's that same band. The rock opera band from earlier, from Legion.
Well, they should definitely
the
make
band,
this.
is it called Legion?
No, they're called Dog Fashion Disco.
Of course they are.
Yep.
Of course they are.
They finished the score again for free. And January Schrader again.
It's amazing when you're fighting the good fight how many people will sign on to help you. Metal.
Okay, so Dominion, prequel to The Exorcist, released on May 20th, 2005 on 100 screens. So very little. Limited
comparatively,
release.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so Rennie Harlan's version released on like 3,000 screens. That was like...
You consider that a wide release.
And then they're just like, all right, we're just going to release this other movie.
So originally it was meant just for DVD. But Schrader got an online following of Redditors, I guess.
Release the Schrader cut.
Yeah, release the
Exactly.
Schrader cut, yeah.
And so that's why they let it go to theaters.
I see.
It was the same weekend as Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. And
Also a prequel.
makes $250,000 in theaters,
Wah,
which is
wah.
half a lunch.
Yeah, yep. That's true. Hey, but they got the score for free.
Yeah.
And so because it was mostly really, it in general was released for DVD, there's not really big sales tracking on that, so I have no idea how well it did. It's 30% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, so better than the other one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Blatty calls Dominion a handsome, classy, elegant piece of work. All right, Clint, it should be noted at this time that you watched Exorcist the beginning while Ray and I watched Dominion, prequel to The Exorcist.
Oh, that's a fucking twist right here in the whole movie. You did that on purpose, you sly, sneaky fox. You guys are clever.
I was like, oh shit, I think I might have almost given it away.
No, I didn't even think about that. That's amazing. You guys watched Dominion and I
Live
watched the
podcast.
beginning?
Yeah.
Live
Okay.
podcast twist right here for you, audience. This is exciting times.
We're gonna go through the plot. We're gonna go through the plots of each one, and you're gonna be like, yeah, that's the same movie I watched.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so Exorcist the beginning plot. It opens 1,500 years in the past.
Exorcist the Beginning is the one by Rennie Harlan, which is like the action-y one.
Yes.
Okay.
The remade version, the redone.
That's
one.
the Die Hard 2.
The Die Hard 2
Die
of
Hard 2.
Exorcist prequels.
Yes.
Yes.
The Die Hard 2 of Exorcist prequels.
Okay, so it opens 1,500 years in the past with a priest on a battlefield with a valley of soldiers crucified upside down.
Yeah.
Cut to 1949, where a disillusioned Father Marin is on sabbatical doing archaeology. And he is troubled by an incident during World War II where a Nazi commander forces him to choose the executions of village people in, I think it's the Netherlands, told slowly throughout your movie.
Right. Because he's not a priest in the beginning, right? Because of his bad experience, with Nazis.
Yeah,
like one does.
Yeah.
he's all disillusioned because of Nazis, which
But like I feel
know.
like haters gonna hate, Nazis gonna knots, right?
Nazis gonna knots.
So to me, that makes sense for me because then Marin's like, oh, I guess I don't believe in God anymore because how would a God let this happen?
Right.
Or maybe he's like, oh, I don't deserve to be a priest, or maybe I don't know what it is, but either one works as motivation.
Okay. Marin goes to British Kenya, where a Byzantine church is being excavated. He is asked to find a demonic relic before the British Army can. At the site, Major Granville is in charge. Marin is joined by Father Francis, played by James Darcy.
Wait a minute. We didn't watch the same one, but we're both talking about Father Francis. You said milquetoast, and I still know who you were talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
That's why I was like, what the fuck?
I mean, no, my guy's like hella milk toast, so. Because I know
Standing
who
up.
James Darcy is, and he's like way hotter than my Father Francis.
This is amazing, you guys.
They probably had to make the character fairly similar because the whole character of Father Francis is like, he's a good, like, he's like
Christian
a Mormon
boy.
missionary of priests.
Yes. So
Very milquetoast, and I was one of those dudes.
Yeah.
And I was I tried not to be milquetoast. I rode a beach cruiser in my mission instead of those other stupid bikes.
So metal.
It was black with white hibiscus flowers on it, so hell yeah, it was.
He did
Now-
that riding around.
Exactly. Now I gotta see who Father Francis was in this one.
So there is also a concentration camp survivor / doctor by the name of Sarah. The church has been buried, but is in perfect condition. Angels are pointing their weapons downward, but the crucifix with Christ has been turned upside down. Marin goes to the tent of the lead archaeologist, who seems obsessed with the demon Pazuzu. And that archaeologist is now in a mental hospital with a swastika carved into his chest, and he's channeling the Nazi commander from Marin's past.
Mm-hmm.
Then
God is not here, Father.
Then he cuts his own throat.
Right.
A priest then gives Marin the Roman ritual, saying that he'll need to do an exorcism. Meanwhile, at the local village, a boy is killed by hyenas, and his brother goes into a fugue state. And a woman gives birth to a stillborn covered in maggots.
Oh, that was rough.
So
I keep forgetting you guys haven't watched this.
hold on. Father Francis tells him the history of the valley, about 2 priests who lead an army before evil took over. And then they kill each other,
Yeah.
and only one priest is left standing. The lone surviving priest was then tasked to build a church to seal the evil inside. And then the Vatican removed this from the history books. And Francis was put in charge to see if this was true. It's believed that this is the valley where Lucifer fell from heaven. Marin then discovers there's a tomb underneath the church where sacrifices were performed. Now, throughout, there's an allusion to the kid brother who might be possessed, right?
Right.
Okay. But it's revealed that Sarah, the doctor, is actually the possessed one. Twist. She kills Francis, and then Marin exorcises her. Then she dies. Now, I'm not sure how it was really set up in the synopsis that I was reading, but during this, the British soldiers and the local tribe kill each other.
Yep.
So Marin leaves the church with the young boy. The church buries itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
It wills itself to have a heart attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With a lone surviving priest, history has repeated itself. And then there's one stinger scene of him being a priest again.
Yeah. And he walks away and he puts on his black fedora like
And
he
his
was
sunglasses,
wearing.
and he goes,
Yeah, he has a guitar under his robes the whole time. Okay, now Dominion, the
All right.
original version, Paul Schrader version.
Okay, I have to say, before we get into the version that we watched, his version sounds way better. I know it doesn't have as high of a Rotten Tomatoes score, but your synopsis, I'm like, damn, we didn't get that scene.
Yeah.
That sounds way more interesting than what we watched.
No, I'll admit, there were aspects of this film that I was like, okay, this is kind of interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
But overall, the hyena scene was, the CG was just...
Okay.
We did also have those. It was
Did you?
bad,
Okay.
Hold on.
Okay.
Our hyena scenes are different, though.
Okay.
but they're equally as shitty.
So, all right, and we can talk through it as we go through this one. Okay, the Dominion plot. So this is the Paul Schrader version, the original version. Film starts with the Nazi incident. So the Nazi commander forcing him to choose people. And so it does the whole thing.
Does he say, God is not here?
I don't know about that because I don't know if your version is different. The Nazi commander in this
Oh my god, the Nazi
is
commander.
like an Irish guy who can't do a German accent.
so
really?
bad.
Hi, God is not here, Father.
Oh, really?
Hi,
His father?
And he is the most unthreatening SS Nazi soldier. Yeah, I'm like, dude, Stellan, just punch that guy in the face
For real.
and walk away. He's shrimpy.
the fewer needs his lucky charms.
Yeah, he's like a little leprechaun of a like pretending to be a Nazi. He was not good.
So is yours like a good? Like, was he intense?
No, he sounded German, yeah. And like, look, I've never met a Nazi. Just from what I know from Indiana Jones, film, television history, basically, like
They're pretty terrible.
they're pretty terrible. And this dude lived up to that. So
Yeah.
I mean, he was pretty convincing as a scary Nazi.
So Marin goes to Kenya,
Mm-hmm.
dig site.
Ours did not have any of like the battle of like years gone.
There's no
Angels.
explanation to
The church or why it's there or anything.
Oh, okay.
So Marin goes to Kenya, the dig site, and meets Major Granville and Father Francis, this time played by Gabriel Mann.
Milk toast.
Milk toast.
That's so funny.
OG milk
And a doctor named Rachel,
Not Sarah.
not Sarah.
Okay.
who's also terrible, by the way.
She's awful.
So that's what was so funny is that like you kept saying things about your version. I'm like, that's also true in our version, but I didn't know if it was the same actors or not.
Yeah.
And so now I'm just flummoxed by the fact that 2 movies exist where we can say the same shit about the same characters, like, oh, that actress was bad in that role. Oh, that guy's super milquetoast. Oh, that hyena bullshit was garbage. And it's like 2 fucking different movies with different actors.
This is the best thing I have ever done on a podcast, and I've been doing this for a long time.
Okay, so at the dig site, Marin sees a shy, deformed, crippled boy. Later on, Rachel takes him in to be treated. They uncover the church, go inside, angels pointing downward. At this point, they instantly discover that there's a tomb underneath. I don't know how long it took them to find it.
It took a while. As I'm watching this, like as Father Marin's going around doing a whole bunch of other bullshit, I'm like, when the hell are they going to get back into that church? It took them forever to get back in there.
No, as soon as they go into it, they're like, what the hell? And then they figured out that there's something underneath.
Yeah, because he goes in alone and finds the
Oh.
ritual sacrifice tomb.
Yeah, in our version,
It's almost
it's like
instantly.
Rachel, Marin, and Father Milquetoast.
Well, there's also, and his like translator and stuff.
Yeah.
We'll call yours Father Milquetoast. Mine will be Father Whitebread.
Father Wonderbread.
Meanwhile,
is Stellan the only actor in?
no, the only 2 differences are those 2 actors.
The father and
Father
the,
Francis
and the doctor.
And the doctor. So
Lady
the
doctor.
English translator, same actor. The soldiers, Major Granville, same actors.
Okay. What about? Okay. Oh my gosh. All right. This is.
So meanwhile, at the local village, a woman gives birth to a stillborn covered in maggots.
That was, a rough, I agree.
That was
So
rough.
apparently that footage is actually like the only bit that he used from the Harlan version. So it's like
okay.
the exact same thing.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Okay.
I don't need to watch it, and I'll skip past that part.
Okay. And then, so for us, a pack of hyenas have been killed by the cattle.
Oh my god, it's
What?
so fucking stupid. Clint, it's so fucking stupid. So you thought those CG hyenas were bad? Guess what? They're CG cows in our version.
Eating dead hyenas.
It's like that Simpsons joke
It's
when they're making the
garbage.
radioactive man. Like, why are you painting that cow, that horse? Cows don't look like cows on film. You got to use horses. Well, what do you want? What do you do if you want a bunch of horses on screen? Usually we just tape a bunch of cats together.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so let's go into hyenas. So for our version, he runs in, he like walks up past the dig site, and then some hyenas kind of like run up on him, and it looks like MS Paint.
No, really.
So
These
bad.
shitty, oh my god, shitty hyenas like pop up on the screen. They look
Yeah.
like they're like stick puppets like popping up like.
Were yours CG?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We had a mix. We had a CG puppet mix.
Well, that's the thing about the beginning, though, is that you see hyenas before this like hyena attack scene, and they didn't look bad. They looked like 2004 CG, and it was like, okay, it is what it is for the time,
Yeah.
right? But then in the scene that they actually attack, so you said that there's 2 boys, right? The sons, the hyenas, what we think are like under his the other boys like control, attack and just maul his brother, and it's that part alone is rough to watch because like hyenas are ripping apart this kid. but the CG looked like it was. Kudos to them for having that scene done in the dark because they did not have shadows. the CG hyena, like, I mean, you gotta have a light source somewhere to film in the dark, right?
Yeah.
But like, they did not have shadows. It did not appear like that, and like, it looked very flat.
Yeah.
No detail, very jolty, but it was CG.
Weird lighting. Yep,
It was
same.
very, very weird.
Yeah, and then at the end of ours, like one of the hyenas gets possessed by Pazuzu, and it's
Well, like you do.
and he like turns and looks at the camera and goes wink with
Please
red
tell
eyes.
me he
No.
winks. Oh shit, that'd have been so amazing.
It's like a still image of a fake hyena. His eyes start glowing
like
red.
a puppet. Like it's that's why I said there's a mix of like puppet hyenas and CG hyenas. Yeah, it's
We
really-
think. I don't know if the budget.
There was that one
made
shot that
puppet.
was like 100% a dude in a suit, like a dude like standing like this with like a hyena suit
hyena.
on.
I am.
That's funny.
It's rough,
So
man.
that's just so funny.
That $35,000 definitely shows. It was bad news.
Okay, so Francis worries that the villagers are going to destroy the temple and notifies the British army, who decide to protect it. 2 soldiers instantly try to ransack it and end up dying. One decapitated and the other crucified upside down. Okay, so I'm not sure what happens in yours because of the summary I read, but Major Granville goes crazy
Yeah.
and then he executes a villager, just like the flashback.
And he's
He's like-
accusing them of murdering the soldiers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't happen. He actually ends up going nuts and shooting himself.
Same thing.
Same.
He's like doing the entomologist, like butterfly, people who do
Yeah.
the butterfly things. Is he a butterfly dude in you?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, because then like all the butterflies like start to flap their wings, and he's like going nuts, like what the hell's going on? And he grabs his gun, and he's like going to shoot himself in the head because all these butterflies that he's pinned to the cork board, and he's like going nuts. But he's like, oh, okay, they stopped. Okay, good. But then like he opens up his mouth, and a butterfly is coming out of his mouth. He's like, oh, what the fuck? And he shoots himself.
Whoa, that is like not even close to our version.
He goes nuts about thinking that the tribe killed his men, and then he's just like kind of insane. And then he just goes up on the top of a hill and he's staring at the church, and he goes off on this long monologue and then just blows himself away.
Yeah, no butterflies, huh?
And
No
No,
moths.
when he dies,
He had a
op-
butterfly
there's
with
a
him.
butterfly in his hand. He goes, and then it's like
no
that butterfly in his hand.
What?
no
Really?
reanimated butterflies.
Nope.
But did they allude to butterflies before that?
Yeah, like there's one scene where he has them on the wall.
They're like in his office.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, same thing.
Our version is then a village soldier kills his fellow village boys, like of his same tribe, because they are learning Christianity. So Father Francis is in the school teaching these kids, and this guy just comes in there and just starts killing the kids.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Anakin style.
and not even Father. He knocks out Father Francis.
Yeah,
and it's like,
I was
why don't
like-
you kill that guy? He's
I
the one
was-
doing it.
That scene was such bullshit because this villager's like, all this bad shit has started happening since these Christians came to our village. They've unearthed this temple. Like all this stuff is happening. Cows eating hyenas, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. And so he's like, I have to stop the spread of Christianity. So he goes in and kills a bunch of the village children, but not the priest who's teaching them. Like
It makes
it makes no
sense.
fucking sense.
That's yeah.
So during all this hysteria,
I like how Schrader's like shitting all over Harlan's, and then like and then I'm hearing like what his is all about. And
They're both not good
it's
from what I
not
understand.
a good movie.
That's
It's
so
not a good
funny.
movie.
That was the one thing that like was so funny is that I mean, don't feel bad that we made you watch a shitty movie because we also watched a shitty
We watched a
movie.
more boring version.
It's not like
I gave you the action version.
that's what I'm saying. I'm like, what? He's got like angel devil battles and shit. Like we just get like a lot of boring scenes of people talking.
So during all this chaos, Father Francis and Rachel, the doctor, take the crippled boy to the church to baptize him.
Wait, we have not talked about Che. We need to discuss this.
Okay.
So in your version, the 2 boys that are like possessed or whatever, right, are Jacob and Joseph,
Right.
the translator's children.
Right.
Our version has this random character who does not fit in this movie. He's like he's kind of an outcast from the village because he has like deformities, and people are like, like the villagers like literally beat him up. They're like, he's cursed, like don't let him into the village. But he's not black.
He's played by a
He's
Hispanic
played
guy.
by a Latino guy.
Weird.
And like, what are you doing? How did you get there? Like, he's not African, so like, why
Yeah.
is he there? Where did he come from?
And so
It makes no sense. And
they put him
and
as
his
the-
name is Cheche, and they keep calling him that. They're like Cheche, 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 like all the time.
90% of the movie, he's laying in the hospital.
Because they're like, oh, like he's sick, and like Rachel, the doctor, is taking care of him and stuff, and he keeps miraculously healing really quickly, and she's like, whoa, this is crazy. Like, I don't know what's happening, blah, blah, blah. Well, of course he's fucking possessed is what's happening. So Father Francis is in there to like pray over Cheche because he's just like, oh, like you sweet innocent boy, like you're so good. And then like he's like blessing him, and he like puts the cross on his head and it starts burning. And then like Cheche like wakes up and is like, don't ever touch me with that again, Father.
Like in a really
In
evil,
like a
demonic
really
voice.
evil demonic voice. And he's like, ah, you know. And so then he's like,
We gotta
we gotta
baptize him.
baptize him. That's like his. This like sweet innocent boy is like possessed by a demon. We gotta go baptize
Guys,
him in the church right above the demon hold. Like, how dumb are you?
I gotta see this movie now.
Okay,
Crazy.
so he reveals himself as Pazuzu as they're trying to baptize him.
Yeah.
And then Francis runs away.
Father Francis like fully pieces out of the temple like to go get his exorcism book and leaves Rachel there.
Yeah.
Like, you motherfucker.
And the tribe was about to go to war with the soldiers, tie him up and like shoot a bunch of arrows into him. And he's still alive. And then Father Marin finds him, takes him to the hospital, and then he's like, his last dying words like, you gotta exorcise the boy, or something.
You have to save him. Rachel's still in there and blah, blah, blah. And so he's like, okay, I got to suit up and do this exorcism.
Yeah, so Father Francis takes the boy to the church to exorcise him.
In your version too?
Yeah, and Marin realizes that it was Rachel. Sarah. Fuck. This CGI sucks too because and the makeup. The makeup is horrible for Sarah when she's got her demon makeup on. I don't know why they're like, hey, you know what's scary from The Exorcist is when Reagan has got her scary makeup on. She's like all gross and green skin and they got the cuts everywhere. It's bad, you guys. It's bad.
Oh, no.
So in our version, Marin suits up as a priest once more to exorcise the crippled boy who has morphed into this being, Pazuzu. And he's like, he teleports around the room. He floats in midair.
This is still Cheche? This is still the boy?
Yeah, but he's
So-
also like, he like looks a little different.
Ours is like him walking around like a room full of rocks, like barely even trying, honestly, to do any kind of
The
exorcism.
power of Christ, you know, the rest
whatever,
compels you.
bullshit. Yeah, exactly. And then Pazuzu's like teleporting around the room, like going like whispering in his ear, like, remember that time with the Nazis? Like, it's just, like, right? It's
Yeah.
just, it's
You can't
so
catch me.
dumb. Yeah,
What's
exactly.
one of the things that's like, what's just stupid is that in the original Exorcist, Kara says to her, "Why don't you just make the straps disappear?"
That would be a gross display,
Display
of power.
of power. And it's like, this fucker is just teleporting around the room using his X-Men powers. It's stupid.
Oh, so weird. Schrader, what is your problem?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so he exercises him, and it's the worst scene of the movie. It's so dumb. It is so like, it lacks any kind of intensity. And then so the exorcism works, but Pazuzu enters a hyena.
What?
So,
But it was him the whole time. Cheche is possessed, right?
yes. Yeah.
It wasn't Rachel.
No.
No,
It was Cheche the whole time.
that's a twist that was in your version.
And he,
Okay.
it's so fucking obvious that it's Cheche. Like, the fact that, like, nobody guessed it is beyond stupid. But, like, the exorcism is so lame. And, like, Ian was saying at the beginning, so in Exorcist 1, right, they say, like, oh, Father Marin did an exorcism on a boy in Africa, and it took months, and it almost killed him. This takes 5 minutes, and he just gets, like, some boils on his face, and he's like,
And he
gets knocked
says
to the ground.
like
It's
3 lines.
It's so fucking
and
lame.
just one of them he just keeps repeating.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like, he doesn't do the full exorcism rites like they do in the first movie. He's got a holy water for a second, but then it gets, like, knocked out of his hand. And, like, Cheche is already...
He is like
He's like an
fucking God.
all-powerful... Yeah, he's, like, basically like, I can teleport. I have supreme powers. Like,
He's throwing him
is
around the room without touching him. And
so he, like, it takes him...
Choose the form of the destructor.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, it takes him 5 minutes to exorcise this demon who's basically a god. The exorcising Reagan, who was a 12-year-old little girl who was strapped to a bed, was harder than this exorcism.
Yeah.
It is absolutely the dumbest shit of all time.
the line in the original Exorcist, he was in Africa about a decade ago. Incorrect, because both of our versions take place in the 40s.
Yeah.
So already not
30
that.
years ago.
It takes place in Africa. Yes, got it. Took him months. No, it was like a weekend.
Yeah. This is the weekend
I think it was
exorcism.
5 minutes.
It was like, yeah.
He was-
well, yeah, the whole thing. Yeah, you're right. The exorcism itself was like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yours the same?
Yeah.
Did it nearly kill him? Yeah. Ours, he just kind of gets boils on his face that pop, and he looks gross, and then he's instantly cured from it.
Oh my God. Okay, I gotta tell you how this one scene plays out though, because I'm jealous now that your show is suckier than mine. I want to try and help you guys realize how horrible this one was. So Pazuzu, who's possessed Sarah, now wants to like take the boy, right? Start a little club. I don't know.
The little demon possession club.
Yeah, exactly. So he saves the boy. He manages to like get Rachel away for a second, but then he like they run down some stairs in this tomb underneath the church. But Rachel or Sarah is still up there, and but then she's not. I don't know where the hell she goes. So they're trying to find a way out, right? And then all of a sudden, like they're looking down this long tunnel, and Sarah is at the end of it, and she's running at him. And that scene is kind of like creepy the way that they filmed it, but then they do something stupid where they cut to a shot of Sarah running like running down the hall, and like the camera's moving with her, and she's just like slow motion going like this with like waving her arms like yeah, and it totally takes you out of it because it looks like shit. It looks like crappy green screen, and her makeup is horrible. But then it cuts back to like to Marin, and he's saying his the prayer or whatever, and it just keeps on cutting back. Like, just stick with that scene. Just stick with that shot, looking down the hall, and then this creepy, crazy ass lady is running at you screaming. Like, that would have been more effective. And then it finally gets close enough to her, and there's like this airbender barrier that like she runs into, and then like it like breaks all of her bones and blood. It's weird. Like she comes. Have you ever seen like slow motion footage of someone getting like a leaf blower blown in their face?
Oh yeah, it's like
That's what it looks like.
Oh jeez.
To Sarah, and then she falls down, and then she's exorcised, right? And her skin color goes back to normal. She's no longer this weird green. Her scars are no longer as deep, but then because like there's like a romantic thing going on between them, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, but so they're like talking for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, she starts to like get like all loopy eyed, and then a pool of blood starts coming underneath her head.
Oh no!
And you're like, yo, if you hit your head on something like that and it's just crack, you're dead.
Like,
You're not gonna be like blah blah blah. Oh,
yeah, because the amount of blood that was coming out of her, like that comes in pints. Like that's seriously what I was thinking of. Because it's just so much. Like, oh my, okay, they would not have been able to have this conversation.
Yeah.
So we have different movies that we watch, but do you think this was all worth it?
No.
No, absolutely not. I mean, your version is definitely not worth it. Mine wasn't worth it either. I mean,
it's so funny. You were texting us while you're watching, like, this movie's fucking garbage. And we were like, I don't know what you're saying.
Oh, that's why you guys didn't respond.
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, are they just making me watch it? Yeah, okay.
We're just like, tee.
Never responded.
Never responded. So I was like, oh, I guess they didn't. Maybe they did like it and I offended them.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We're just like, that's our favorite movie, Clint. How dare you?
It's one of those things that was like, release the Schreider cut, right? Like whatever version. And it was like the reviews are slightly better, but it's such a bad movie.
I don't understand how the reviews could possibly be better for the version that we watched, because based on your synopsis, his version sounds exponentially better. At least there's like some interesting shit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least there's some interesting shit going on in that movie, and it feels like there's more motivations for things. And like and then it feels like Father Merrin is more of an active participant in the story. Our story is like there's no motivations. There's just this random kid who gets possessed, like who has no kind of attachment to the story. Like in his movie, it's his version. It's like actually one of the villagers' kids, which makes more sense. And then like twist, it's the doctor that he's in love with who ends up getting possessed, which is more interesting. There's just a lot more things that seem, again, have not seen this movie, but a lot more things that seem more interesting.
So now that I think about it, I'm like, okay, yeah, this movie does make a little bit more sense.
It totally does.
Yeah.
Like
ours is definitely, it's directed so lethargically. Like it is so slow, it's so like, it's so weird. And then January's like, this is directed like a 70s movie.
Yeah.
Where just like, there's just long sequences of someone arriving at a place, and then like they have a conversation that doesn't seem to do with anything, and then 20 years from now people look back and go, oh my god, the subtext of this bullshit, and
yeah.
and this it's not entertaining at all. It is so boring.
It is so boring. And
all right,
yeah,
maybe I won't. I just want to watch the Exorcist scene.
I legitimately just want to watch your version now too.
I know.
Though.
Yeah.
I think you should, and we should do a follow-up. We should do a swap.
We'll do a swap-a-roo.
Lastly, you can buy on Blu-ray The Exorcist, the complete anthology, which
gross.
includes all the films we just talked about.
Even the 2 alternate versions?
Yes.
Wow.
So it comes with the Exorcist, the longer version, the version you've never seen, with the 12 minutes
the
extra.
yeah.
And then Exorcist 2, The Heretic, Exorcist 3, Exorcist the Beginning, and Dominion, the prequel of The Exorcist. So you want all these classic films on Blu-ray.
Does it also include The Exorcist 3 that has like the extra like sweeted VHS scenes that Blatty added?
It might.
You guys, that is definitely a complete anthology.
I agree.
They were just scraping the barrel of that Exorcist material and they put it on a DVD for you. So there you go.
It's just kind of funny that like every single one of these movies just had just shit problems.
Would you say that they were all a shit show?
Absolutely.
Every one of them sound just horrible to make.
Just a few days before we started shooting, I was hit by a car in Rome and broke my leg and had to direct the entire film on crutches. There were definitely things in the air that suggested that maybe we were walking on ground that we shouldn't be walking on.
We haven't done this in a while, but anybody have anything they want to plug?
If you want more of me, I do another podcast all about the TV series Lost, and it's called Getting Lost. And we've been doing that for about 5 years. And if you think like, you really get 5 years worth out of a TV series that's been off the air for almost a decade, yeah, you can.
Speaking of scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
Speaking of milking it.
Exactly. So yeah, if you're interested in that, it's called Getting Lost. Me and my friend Adam do a show about Lost.
I did a fun guest hosting on a podcast. It's called But Make It Scary, with a friend of mine. Her name is Sequoia Simone. She has a couple podcasts, this new one and then another one called Fanatical Fix and Where to Find Them, which is a Harry Potter fanfic podcast. So anyway, she started this new podcast called But Make It Scary, where we watch a romantic comedy and then talk about how we would make it into a horror film.
Oh, that's amazing.
I will be on the second episode of that show where we talk about my best friend's wedding and we make it into a horror movie. And that should air like beginning of November, I think. So anyway, you can check me out there, or you can find me at the Ray J on the Twitters.
Your Twitter?
At bub_rub with 2 B's at the end. Bubrub. And that's also my Instagram as well. But it's set at private, so if you want to follow me, I got to know who you are. So if I don't know you, fuck off.